Hello, everybody. Dieter Bone here, and welcome back to the Smartphone Round Robin. And this week, WM Experts is taking a look at the Treo Pro, cracks and all. I've got one. Boy, it is a Treo, and it runs on Windows Mobile, start menu and all. So what is WM Experts doing, trying to take a look at a Windows Mobile device from a Windows Mobile user's perspective? Why didn't we go with the device like, say, the Centro, which seems to make a lot more sense because it is a different platform? Well, in order to do that, we need to take a trip down Treo memory lane. So join us as we take an overview of a whole bunch of Treos. Here is a Treo 270, same thing except for the color screen as the Treo 180. Well, there was a little bit of differences beyond that. Anyway, we've got the basic form factor. We have got a ringer switch, a keyboard, and a square touchscreen. But the Treo 600 was really the Treo that sort of started the form factor. You got the candy bar. It's thick like Treos are, but you have got a front-facing QWERTY keyboard. You have got some buttons. You've got a square touchscreen, and you've got a ringer switch and some volume buttons on the side. But that's really the Treo that made Treos really. And here's the Treo 650. This is the GSM version. You can see they're very, very similar, but the 650 was really the Treo that got things going. It was they really perfected quite a lot of things, got a lot of things right. Removable battery door, 320 by 320 screen. Here with the Treo 700p, they took that basic idea, changed a couple memory things, but added 3G. But really very similar. Here's the Treo 680, the first Treo where they cut off the antenna. But again, 320 by 320 touchscreen, keyboard, ringer switch, same basic form factor as the rest of them. You can see compared to the Treo 600, there's not a whole lot of differences. It's not till we get to the Centro that we see a real difference in form factor where they made it smaller in a lot of ways. But again, not a whole lot of difference. And the thing was, last year we did the Treo 680, and going with the Centro this year would have been tough because there would have been nothing to talk about except for form factor, because really the operating system on both of these devices is virtually identical. The differences are so minute and so sort of Palm OS nerdy, to put it bluntly, that it really wouldn't have made for a great comparison. And we wanted Palm to put their best foot forward, and in this whole long line of Treos here, we've got a nice evolution of the Palm OS. But Palm's best device right now is got to be the Treo Pro. And you can see that these two devices, the Treo Pro and the 600, really they belong in the same family. We've got a lot of similar form factors. We got the screen, the keyboard, but really it's one-handed use that defines the Treo for me. You can reach up, hit the touch screen, the ringer switch, and the keyboard all from one hand on these devices. But really, we're trying to figure out, there's three things with the original Treo. It was a pager, it was a PDA, and it was a phone. Those are the three things that made a Treo, why it had Treo 3 in the name there. And that applies to a lot of phones these days. It's not unique to the Treo anymore. And so the question is, what makes a Treo a Treo? What differentiates it from other smartphones? Or is it just, a brand name these days? Is there anything special about Palm and about the Treo that you can't find on other phones? And again, one of the things for me is one-handed use. It's a combination of a touchscreen and a keyboard where you can use the keyboard, navigate with the 5-way, but if you need to, you can reach up and touch the screen. But with the Treo Pro, the real question that's on the table here is this thing truly a Treo? You've got a really standard, straightforward Windows Mobile implementation here. There's not a whole lot of bells and whistles. There's not even as much as you saw on the Treo 700WX. So let's zoom in a little bit here, and I'll even see if I can hit a light to make things a little bit better so you can see what we're looking at. There it is. So let's see if we can hit some of the hallmarks of Treo-ness that makes a Treo Pro definitely fit into that family. One of the most important hallmarks of Treo-ness to me is the ability to just, from the keyboard, from the home screen, just very quickly type a name and boom, do a contact search. But that's nothing special these days. Windows Mobile does that by default, so there's nothing new there. We do have the Google search right on the Today screen that Palm introduced, but again, that's available now by third-party apps. Here's photo dialing. I get that from a third-party app, not from Palm's customizations. That's not available. We've got a standard start menu, a standard Windows Mobile start menu. I installed a third-party app again to get past that. That's SPB Mobile Shell for both of those third-party apps. I guess you could say another hallmark of the Palm OS is poor browsers, and I've even installed a third-party browser to replace Pocket IE. This is Skyfire, which lately I'm liking more and more on Windows Mobile, and I will cut out of that and show you some other things. Like I said, it's very straightforward. We go to the programs list. You want to scroll with your thumb, but you can't because that's not default in Windows Mobile, and Palm hasn't included that. But you can scroll with the 5-way. And you can see I opened up Sprite backup. They included that, which is nice. But basically, you are looking at a very straightforward implementation. And Palm has always been famous for having their Zen of Palm, where things are very quick and intuitive. There are little shortcuts built in throughout. Here, we'll even open up Style Tap, which is a Palm OS emulator running on top of Windows Mobile. And you can see, the OS is simple enough to run inside of Windows Mobile. We can pull out the stylus and drop down the menu from the top here. And, you can see that there are lots of keyboard shortcuts for all the menu options there, and it's pretty intuitive. Now, that said, I don't want to say the Treo Pro isn't Palm-like, because there are some things that are Palm-like. We've got the Wi-Fi button on the side there, and just as importantly, the one-handed use, the quick access, lots of buttons to get to the things you're looking for, like messages. You can get to the calendar quickly. There's lots of ways to do that. Since I've got SPB Mobile Shell installed, I'll show you that implementation. But things when you've got it configured right, and the out of the box is configured pretty good, are relatively snappy and quick, and that's something that you expect from a Treo device, whatever we're defining Treo as these days. It definitely has to be quick and snappy. So my basic contention, I think, that I'm working towards is that the Treo is, jack of all trades, master of none. It can do pretty much everything, and all smartphones can do pretty much everything, but the Treo tends to do all the things that it does a little bit better than most smartphones. It just doesn't excel better than anything else at any of those features. So whether it's email, not quite as good as the BlackBerry, but better than, say, something else, or the web, not all that great with Pocket IE, but better than what you'd get on, say, a feature phone. Form factor, of course, I'm a big fan of the one-handed use, the QWERTY keyboard plus a touchscreen. But the question is, can they get back to the dominance they had when that 650 came out? Can they get back to being a leader with simplicity and power combined into one single package? And can they do it in such a way where it's capable of doing everything, but still able to keep it really simple and clean? So apologies for the kind of noodly video, but I'm really trying to get at, from a Windows Mobile perspective, what makes a Treo different. And so please comment on this article, and let's see if we can figure it out together, hey?